Illuminating white text appears that says, "A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." Now, curvy golden yellow text stationary in the middle of the screen with stars flying by through hyperspace that reads, "Theory of a Blind Man." Golden yellow text begins to crawl from the bottom of the screen upwards. Episode 2, The Live Stream Strikes Back. After the separation of content uploads and live streams, this channel is dedicated to live streaming guests, gaming, proclivities and pondering of the fate of the galaxy. Darth Whistler reigns over these channels and his message will be heard with the help of many others presenting information for all to absorb. The text continues to crawl away from view deep into the infinity of space. For those of you willing to watch and listen to live streaming and participate in the chat, the live stream strikes back at a new upload channel with prizes and galactic credits to make you rebels come rich beyond your wildest dreams. But Darth Whistler is not satisfied until the triad of the Force has been completed, and so there lays another in wait deep in space and will soon be revealed. May the dark side of the Force be with you. As the last of the text disappears, we are left with stars flying by view in hyperspace, then fade to black.
Welcome everybody. My own microphone muted on my mixer board. My bad. Welcome to the show. Yes, go ahead and unmute yourself, and we will get started. Today we got the X phone sex operator to talk about the ins and the outs of being a phone sex operator. So it should be fun. If you can hear me, go ahead and unmute yourself, because mine doesn't show muted. I see you here. Oh wait, there we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, it'll be a good show.
It will. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Sweet. So, whoops. Let me
Can
get
you hear me
back
all
to the
right?
chat. Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Awesome.
Just fine. Just a reminder that we can all be adults here in the chat, so keep things respectful because I got a good moderator team. We don't mind kicking people for being rude and disrespectful.
So be
Alrighty.
nice.
So, phone
Hello.
sex operator. Phone sex operator.
Yeah.
How did you even come across getting into that kind of line of work?
Well, to be honest, my ex found it. And he, I've always tried to get hired at a regular job, and you know how that goes.
Wow.
But anyway, he actually found the position, asked me if I would want to do it, filled it out. Then I went, it wasn't on the phone interview type of thing. And yeah, I just did it. I was really shy with this kind of stuff back then. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I obviously needed to make money, wanted to. And so that's how I got into it, really.
And did you find it I know you're not a very judgmental person.
Not at all.
So did you have a hard time battling with what a lot of people would say a morality issue?
No, not at all. Only if it came to kids, and that's where I drew my line. But anything else, or animals, I didn't do that either, because there are people that have some, special needs. So those were the only two things that I pretty much wouldn't do. I said I would play any role of whatever, because it was strictly on the phone. They never saw me.
Right.
There are some phone sex lines that actually do offer pictures and other stuff now, but at the time, this was 2010/2011. I actually did it for a few years. But there was no visuals on their part. Like, they didn't get to see anything. They never knew what I actually looked like. So I could be anybody, which was fun. And I looked at it as an acting job. So
Right.
I wasn't coming in on a judgmental, my spirit, like you said. I'm not like that anyway. And I figured, why not do it here versus somewhere else if it's a crazy fantasy? You know what I mean? It's harmless.
Right. Welcome, Musical Rochelle. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Hi, hey.
Oh, I guess Aaron Richmond is here as well. I didn't see him in the chat, but welcome.
Hello, Aaron.
So queue up your guys' questions because we'll do some questions later on. But again, I'm going to remind you guys throughout the show that to keep stuff respectful. Otherwise, Brother in Darkness will kick you out of my stream. Wah, 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 wah.
Hello in darkness.
So, when you got into this, did you tell your family, or is this something?
No.
No.
It was very secretive. At the time, my dad was still here. And I don't care. I was 28, 29, around there. But I was still kind of like, just, that whole respect thing. And I was scared. I didn't know what they would think at the time. Different person then. And so I said I got a job. I said it was customer service, which it kind of was, servicing customers. But no, it was totally under wraps. I'm sure a lot of my family, I know a lot of people figured it out because, first of all, when I started, it was a graveyard shift. I started at 10 at night and got off at 8 in the morning. So I would go in there, I would lock myself in there, I would turn on, we had one of those wall unit air conditioners. So I would turn that on. And at first, dude, it was crazy. I literally would hide under a blanket so that no one would hear me. Because I would go full force on the whole role play thing. But yeah, I'm going further than the question you asked me. Yes, it was a secret. Definitely.
What were some of the more in-depth role playing you had to do?
So there was a lot of, how do I say this? Sort of dominating. They wanted me to be either dominating or submissive. So a lot of those roles were wanted. Definitely a situation where we don't really know each other. There was some role play of girlfriend experience, but most of the time it was supposed to be secretive, discreet, or someone they just met. So it's a little more exciting to them that way. But there were some very weird roles as well. Very strange requests.
There's a weird comment in a different language in the chat that I cannot read, so I apologize for that. It says love face XYZ, blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
What? You can't read that?
A lot of chat from that person, though.
Odd. Is it spam?
It's weird the way it's being read to me. So it's like capital letter and then an emoji and then another capital letter. It's weird. I don't know.
Maybe goodbye.
It sounds Russian.
Just so you know, I'm not able to read the chat on my end.
You can't?
There's no chat at all. Basically, the bottom line says private chat button, chat with the host and others.
You gotta click chat.
No, there is no. Okay, here's what it is at the bottom. Private chat tab selected. Oh, comments tab maybe?
Yeah.
Let me see. It's a little different, that's all. Now I see them. Hey! Alright, cool. Well, I don't see them, but they're there.
Love face is now dead face, says in darkness. So I guess it was a spammer.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Especially with this title. So where were we? So
there were a lot of strange requests, I was saying.
Yeah, a lot of strange requests. What was the strangest one?
The strangest one is when a man wanted me to kind of role play with him as he got swallowed by a snake. And he wanted to full on masturbate while in the snake.
That's weird.
It's very weird. And he really got into it and how the snake would stretch as he was being swallowed and devoured kind of in the snake. And he wanted to basically, I don't know what words I can say on here.
That is so weird.
But as he wanted to finish inside of the snake, but his entire body inside of the snake.
That is so weird.
Yeah, very weird. Yes.
I don't even know what to say. Welcome, Blind Toes.
Another one that I couldn't do and really kind of bothered me, I guess this one bothered me, is some of the people wanted to role play as if they were underage, and I wasn't feeling that. I wasn't feeling that at all. So I would get in trouble sometimes for it. To be honest, I think the company I was working for was a bit crooked at the time. Mm-hmm. Because I would get pretty much penalized when I wouldn't do those roles.
Wow. So
yeah.
They were open for everything, but
I wasn't.
But you weren't, and you got in trouble for it. That's
anything sexually between adults, I was down for because it's only phone, right? But when it came to kids or animals, like I said, those are my lines. Even I don't care if it's role playing. I don't do that.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time when you take that role playing into reality.
No thanks. So, yeah, exactly.
Although I don't know how much you can take getting swallowed by a snake into reality.
Yeah, I'm
That's
still
just
like
so weird.
Oh yeah, and then there was this other guy, another strange one. He always said he had to pee. He kept saying that. Like, he'd want to talk sexually. He'd want to really go there. But he was like, I have to pee. I have to pee. Like, he kept saying that. So that was weird. I don't know if that was part of his thing. Or if something was going on. You know?
That's odd.
Mm-hmm. So that was another strange one. And then there were some very sexy. There was this one man who was a black and Italian man, and he even had a voice that just, I know he was gorgeous. And he would really get into it, and he loved my voice. And so oh my goodness, like, yeah, the fantasies got really hot with him. But to be honest, I never, and I know this is going to be a downer, but I was never turned on by anyone, because in my head I had to be fully coherent in the moment. Plus I just looked at it as an acting job again, you know what I mean? Because that's essentially, that's what it is. It's an acting job. It's voice acting.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Aaron asks, would you say that there's any life lessons as a PSO that has gotten you your success today?
Just to, well, okay, I've, again, not ever came in judgmental, but it made me a little more open and aware of things, I would say. A little more comfortable with myself, definitely. Because I think the acting actually, I guess that's something I never talked about. The acting definitely made me a little more open with myself. You know what I mean? Like, not as, I don't want to say narrow-minded. I want to say a little more free. Because anything I fantasized about wasn't even half of these things these people were bringing to the table. So I guess it did help me in a sense to be more open. And then YouTube, of course, my channel definitely helped me to be just more confident or okay with myself in general. And that helps
that's a good thing.
with others. Yeah. I see it as a very positive thing.
So how long did you end up doing that line of work for?
So for that particular job, it was over a year, and I was pregnant 2 months into doing it, and then I still stayed nights till I was 5 months. Then they moved me to days, and I preferred nights. It was better work, better pay. Then after that, I did it for about 2 years longer, so about, in total, probably about 4 years. But the reason I stopped, well, for one, it wasn't for me anymore. I mainly did it to support my family. But the other thing is, the pay was better at the first job I had, even though they were shitty. And they were crooked. I'm telling you, they're shut down now. But the pay was hourly. And then after, I'd say 2012, when I did it for the last year and a half or so, I had to find my own work, and it was paid by the minutes or, something like that. So the pay wasn't as good.
Oh, so you would have to find your own clients versus before the customers would call into a number and then it just get dispatched to you?
Well, not necessarily. What it was is the first job was, I held the phone to my ear for 8 hours, 9 hours, sometimes longer. I wasn't allowed to leave, and when I was pregnant, that was really hard. Like, when I had to pee, I would have to take the phone. The other jobs, your phone would ring, and you pick it up, and it literally was just minutes. I wasn't finding my own clients. It's just basically, hopefully someone calls this number tonight and wants to, whatever, talk, So it wasn't very stable, like the first job. Yeah, so basically it was connected to, her name was Susan Block. That was the company. And people would call in, and hopefully I'd get calls. It was very hopefully. The other one was for certain I was going to be working,
Yeah. Now, let's see. So Ed asks, did you ever get a request that you wanted to try with your man?
Not really, because I've always been kind of open sexually. So, I mean, not in crazy ways, but yeah, no, not really. But if I don't know how to say it. I don't really have any new requests that made me want to try it, because like I said, they were very out there. But yeah, like obviously I was a sexually open person with him. I was I am a very sexual person when I'm with someone.
Yeah.
Very.
Now, we've talked about it a little bit before,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't always get sexual conversations.
Correct.
Some people call just to talk. What's that like?
Honestly, that was one of the best parts about the job. There was a couple of men that called in that just honestly needed a friend. There was one in particular who was a lot older, and he would like to talk about his family, his friends, his grandchildren, and just life in general. And he was beautiful. He was just a really great person. I used to tell him, I said, there are free chat lines. Because at the time, chat lines were a little bit bigger than, you know what I mean? That you can call and talk for free. You don't have to pay. And he's like, yeah, but why would I do that when I can get you? And I was just like, aw. So there was him.
He
then
called specifically for you.
He would request me, yeah. I had a lot of people that would request. Then there was another guy. He was an ex-Marine, I want to say. He went through a lot. He was actually in the middle of a custody battle, on top of dealing with physical disabilities that were brought on by being in the service. He actually rescued 3 people from dying, and he lost a lot of his functions because of it. So he talked to me a lot about what he was going through at the time. I felt like it was more therapeutic than anything for him. And honestly, it touched my heart that he'd want to talk to me about these things that were so personal. And so those were 2 of my top favorites, but there were definitely different people that talked just as friends, like they needed someone to listen. And yeah, so there were a few people like that.
Different
that
kind
was
of
really
release.
touching. Right.
More of an emotional and mental release.
Yes. It never became sexual with those men in particular.
Oh, that's actually a good question. But first, welcome Willie Rosado. Welcome to the chat.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for
Silver
welcome.
Fruits.
Cool name.
Yeah,
I
right?
love it. I love it.
Anyway, has a question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get concerned that someone would become obsessed and try to find you?
No. Then I didn't think that way. Now I would.
Yeah.
But I never did have that concern before. And we were protected on that. Like, we gave no info. The number they called was an 800 number into the line, and then it would connect it to us. So there really wasn't a way that I knew of then that would allow that to happen. But now I wouldn't put it past. Like, it feels like anyone could find you anywhere. It's scary.
Plus, people talk. It's...
Yeah.
They could get some other operator and who knows you and, get comfortable with the person and reveal stuff that they really shouldn't.
Right, or if someone had any malice toward me, they'd happily give it away,
That too. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it wasn't a concern of mine then. My concern was more so my mom and dad finding out what I was doing. And my friends knew, so a couple of my good friends, they would tease me. They'd come over and they'd be like, so you're working? You servicing those customers? Yeah. I'm like, shut up. Like, in front of my mom, they would say that. And it's just like...
Oh, wow.
Or they would ask me questions on purpose. So, like, so what is it you help them with exactly? And I'm
try to get you to tell.
Bitches.
So the first company you said was quite crooked. How so?
Okay. Like I mentioned, I was 2 months pregnant into the job. 2 months into the job, I pretty much found out I was... No. Anyways, I was pregnant early, and so I went through a lot of it during my pregnancy, my whole pregnancy, actually. There were times where I had to get off to go pee, and they wouldn't allow me to. They wouldn't allow me to leave. They wouldn't allow me a break. And so one night, and this happened a lot, it had been 8 hours. I hadn't had a break, and I had a lot of requests that night, a lot of customers calling in, and I kind of called them on the back number and said, hey, I need a break. It's been 8 hours. I haven't eaten. And they're like, well, I'm sorry, no. Until you get your numbers up. My numbers were up, by the way, meaning the time of the calls, hold times is what it's called. They want you to have a certain amount of hold times, but it was ridiculous because I would have some guys on for 2 hours, no joke.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, because like I would totally get into it. We would talk and we would do that and we would talk. And so anyway, I say they're crooked because you're supposed to have a break after a certain amount of time in any job you're doing.
Yep.
You know, it's by law. You're supposed to. And they didn't allow me that. I also think that some of the stuff they were accepting as far as kids wasn't right. I didn't like that. So in my mind, that's crooked. And just in general, how they ran it. Like, I mean, not allowing breaks, not allowing certain things is wrong. And then what they did to me was wrong. Okay, so I worked up until I was 9 months pregnant. I delivered. I came back maybe a month and a half later, if that. They promised me a position in the office, though, where I would no longer be doing phone sex. I would be doing customer service part of it, like the billing, stuff like that. I went back in about a month and a half later. I got sick one day, but I was still working. My throat was really dry. I was in a small apartment, and my baby was tiny. He was in the swing in the living room. I never, ever did this job while my kids were in the room. Huge rule of mine, ever. I don't care if they were sleeping. So it was a small apartment. I had a really good headset on, and I was on a little pause, like there was no call in. It was just silent, but they monitor you. The job monitors you. The baby made a noise when I opened the door. My mom was bringing me water. They came in and they fired me on the spot. And they said, basically, they're like, you violated rules. There's not supposed to be kids in the room, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, my child wasn't in the room. You heard him because I opened, and you could hear the whole conversation because they can hear my whole conversation with my mom. I need water, blah, blah, blah. It's not like I was hiding anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then they tried not to give me unemployment, and I went to court and I actually won because the judge asked, was there any warnings? Did she have any problems before? And all of them were no. So there's that. The reason they fired me is because I wasn't doing all of what they wanted, the kid thing, because I was wanting the office position, because, you know, things they promised me I was trying to hold them to, and they didn't like that. So they just used that as a reason to let me go. After that, I read reviews on them, and yeah, they mistreated a lot of operators. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Ed asks, would you consider going back into it for the money?
No, I'm done with that. Although I won't lie, with my given situation, having to move in a couple of months, I was thinking about, hey, what could I do with an OnlyFans page? I'm not lying. I really have considered it. Just using the voice. But if this job works out and everything, I won't need to do that. And I don't want to do it, to be honest. I don't. I want to do something, I'm not putting it down for any operators out there, do your thing, but for me at this point in my life, that's just not something I really want to do. But if Hollywood is looking for a voice actor, hey, I am here. I'm open to those things, maybe.
Speaking of which, Intervision FM, welcome, asks, are you able to change your voice from young to old?
Maybe, but maybe. I don't know. I can definitely try, but again, I wouldn't do anything too young unless I was playing a part in a Disney role or something. But nothing for sexual purposes.
Definitely.
I won't do it.
Aaron Insidious, welcome.
Hey, Aaron.
He asks, what does he ask? I forgot. Oh, did you ever have to report any clients?
Did I have to report any clients?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but like I said, I had a request for stuff with children, and I would let the people know I didn't want to do that, and they weren't very happy with me, but so I wouldn't want to accept that client again.
Yeah, and how can you report any client when the company is willing to take anything?
Right. So it was kind of hard.
Yeah, who would you report it to? I mean, kids, I guess you could report to the FBI.
You could, but since nothing was actually being done physically, I don't think anything could be done about that. It was just conversation, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think there's really much they could have done.
Musical Rochelle asks, did you go by the same name? Or
Never.
Did you have different names talking to
Different
callers?
names. Different names every time. It was always something different. I went by Kayla a lot of the time. Kayla was my stage name.
But how would you remember which name goes with which customer? Because didn't you?
I wouldn't. It would just be a different day. Most of the time I was Kayla.
Okay.
Sometimes I was Natasha.
Because what if they call in requesting Kayla?
They knew. My people knew. I only used a couple names. I never used so many that they couldn't remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was mainly Kayla.
Gotcha.
I don't know why I chose that name. And forgot that I did that till you asked just now. But you're not even allowed to give out your real name like that. Because then they, like someone asked earlier, then they'd, be able to search you out.
Yeah.
I was Kayla Love.
Kayla Love.
Yeah.
So what other interesting things happened working for that company?
Can you repeat that? It cut out on my end.
What other interesting thing happened? What other things can you tell us about working for those types of companies?
Well, as
were
far
there benefits, was it?
I mean, like I said, with this first company, the pay was great at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, the fact that I was able to work graveyard and had children worked out for me. And the fact that they couldn't see me ever, that was awesome. So I was able to pay my bills and buy my baby everything he needed and my kids. So lights were on and food was on the table. That was the upside to it. Also, again, it helped with I think coming out, like with my personality. It helped me to be a little more open with myself even. But as far as advice goes, if you're going to work for a PSO company or whatever, look at the pay. Make sure you're being treated fairly. Make sure that your needs are being met as well, because they can't just use you just because they need your voice. Remember that they're paying you. They need you. And if you're an operator that's highly requested like I was, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just saying out of experience, they will try to dangle that job in your face. Oh, yeah. But remember that they need you. You should remember that with any job. So take care of you. Yes.
In Darkness has posted your YouTube channel in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's actually quite easy to get to. It's just youtube.com/Starlit Soul.
Starlit with an I. Thank you, In Darkness. He's so appreciated. They are. Love In Darkness.
Intervision FM, I'm not quite sure I understand, but they ask, what about the music business?
Oh, I love to sing. I love the music business. I mean, I love to sing. I don't necessarily love all that goes on behind it, but a passion of mine has always been singing. I definitely love it. Two of my favorite artists are Beyonce and Aaliyah. I love R&B, so I don't know what your question is exactly, but I would have loved, my first dream was to be a singer.
What happened?
I didn't know what avenues to go down. I didn't have the money. Actually, there is this one situation, a really cool, positive one. Back when I was like maybe 21, I met with this producer, and he was in the San Fernando Valley. Embassy Studios is what they were called. They actually worked for an old group, R&B group called 702. They also worked with Amarion for a little bit at the time they were B2K, but then he went solo. But I met with him. I sang an Aaliyah song for him, and at the time I felt like I didn't do my best, but he wanted to help me. I needed just $500 to pay them, and that was a deal. It was a steal, honestly. And he wanted to sit me down with a team of writers and help me along, but it didn't happen because I didn't have the money. There was also another modeling career that I could have done, but I went to John Robert Powers, and I had taken some pictures, and she liked it, but she wanted me to go rent out a $2,000 dress for a show, and I didn't have it to do. She's like, just get a charge card, get it and take it back, which is, yeah, great, but I didn't have that at the time.
Yeah.
So there were some opportunities that passed me by that I feel like I wish I would have done something else or known of something else to do to, explore those things that happened, and I just didn't get to.
Yeah,
But
probably for a reason.
maybe so. My passion is always singing and kids, helping kids some way, or helping in
Yeah.
general. So, yeah, this job that I took was definitely different for me. But I don't regret it. It helped me out a lot. It really did.
Ed says you have a beautiful voice and can't
Thank
understand
you.
why you had regulars.
Thank you. What is
Hey,
it?
Blind Guy Show. Welcome, Greg. How are you
Hey,
doing,
Greg.
good sir?
Hello, everyone.
So we're just kind of finishing up with questions here. So if you guys have any questions, you've been really good in the chat, so I appreciate that, and thanks for being respectful. Anything else you want to share about working as a PSO?
Yeah, if you are doing that job, don't be so hard on yourself, because I was very hard on myself. I had to tell myself, look, I'm not out there, I'm not selling my body. And again, this is no knock to anyone that's doing anything, because I don't know your situation. But if you're going to do it because you want to, and don't be hard on yourself as far as like, oh, damn, I feel like a hoe or slutty or whatever. Remember that it's an acting job. Also, remember to protect yourself and your rights. Make sure that you set your boundaries and stick to them. Because if you aren't mentally ready to handle some stuff that you're going to hear, you don't want to go into this business. You don't want to go into this, because it is heavy. I had a lot of heavy stuff, even, with the whole dominatrix area where they wanted to, hit me or do things like that. So you have to understand that going into this, you have to have a very open mind and to take care of yourself in every way. So, and remember, it's just a job. It is not something on your character like I used to think. I was very ashamed. Now I'm just like, it put food on the table.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it helped me pay for my baby stuff because I didn't have much help. Same as the situation now, but you get me. So, and if you guys have any questions on it, please feel free to contact me as well. Like, the youtube.com/starlit soul is my YouTube channel, Starlit with an I. Or you can email me at starlitgems1@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Awesome.
Almost any questions. Don't
Yeah.
be crazy. Don't be crazy. No, I won't give you my number. No, I'm kidding.
Musical Rochelle says you should definitely go after your dreams. It's never too late.
As far as singing goes, I mean, I'm 39. Come on. I don't know.
Yeah, you're pretty much done after 25.
You are. You got to be hot,
musical
sexy,
business.
young type of thing.
Yep.
Not that I'm not hot and sexy, but
Yep.
But thank you guys for listening and for your questions. Thank you, Whistler,
Of course.
for having me on, of course. It's always fun.
Oh yeah, it's a quick story in darkness. So, tell the snake story again for Blind Guy Show.
No worries. So there was this guy that basically liked to fantasize about being swallowed by a snake and basically finishing inside of him, like being totally devoured by the snake. And he would like for me to talk to him while the snake was swallowing him, and he did his thing inside, literally all the way inside the snake. So it was weird. It was one of the weird things.
Weird.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if he just liked to be cozy, like, secure inside of something.
No one knows what you're doing, kind of thing.
Yeah, and for some reason he chose a snake.
Why a snake, though?
I don't know.
Like, that would still...
Maybe he played in sleeping bags too much as a kid.
I don't know, but it was definitely different. Oh, and I was on a show for this. I met Vivica A. Fox, the actress, in 2019. It was really awesome. They actually found me on my YouTube channel talking about this subject. And so they had me on for that. It was in 2019. That was really awesome. And I'm really thankful to her because it was a cool opportunity. And she was really sweet. It was cool.
I think Intervision FM, and it says $9.99. So I don't know if that is a super chat or what, but if it is, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Join the subscribers, Streamlabs. At least Streamlabs is working. So anything
It's
else
always
you'd
good.
like to, any other advice you'd like to give people going into this? Because there's a lot of the ultra conservatives that would have a moral superiority complex over that kind of work.
Well, yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is it even possible to have a conversation with those types of people? They're just so hard-headed as far as like, oh, that's immoral, that's against God, and blah blah blah.
No, there are some people that won't budge. Absolutely not. Yeah. But I mean, that's your own personal decision. It's at the end of the day, your decisions are your own, and your life is your own. You just maybe explain to them, this is merely a job for me. This is something that's getting the bills paid right now. Although I don't know how many phone sex operating jobs pay that much right now, but honestly, you don't owe anyone an explanation, and the best that you can say is, this is an acting job, this is what works for me. And you don't have to talk about it with them. You avoid those conversations, just like anything else that, like, I don't like talking politics with most people because I'm just not going to go there. Religion and politics, they're heavy. Yep. If someone sees something a certain way, it's like talking to a brick wall.
Yeah, it is.
It's true. It's just, all you can do is put it out there. It's out there, and then they can respect it or not. That's it.
And you don't even have to put it out there too.
You don't. That's what it's totally your choice.
Yeah, it's pretty much anonymous.
Right. Yeah. But just remember, don't judge yourself. Like, if you're going to do it, do it. And if you mentally cannot handle it, please don't do it. Because just know where you're at with it before going into it. I also have advice videos on my channel with the PSO work. So also tips if you want to become a PSO operator. I have a PSO tips video on my channel.
Nice. Well, unless there's any other questions or comments in the chat, I'll give it like a minute or so for them to filter in. But we're going to get out of here. So I want to thank you, Starlet, for joining me and talking about phone sex operator.
Anytime.
Smooth operator.
Blind Show says, that's creepy. But different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. Different strokes for different folks. Introvision FM, don't understand. I apologize. I don't know. All he said was do. Or she. I don't know.
What? Who was it? Oh.
In my opinion, Ed says, in my opinion, ultra-conservatives are the main ones to call into the service.
Absolutely. A lot of them are the ones that want to hide their actual fantasies and things they'd like to play out. They want to hide it, It's so hush-hush. It's taboo. So
I can see that.
Yep. You are right.
That's funny. Alrighty, I guess we will wrap it up. So,
thank you for having me. Really.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and it's been a blast.
It has. I appreciate it. And, yeah, please come to my channel for Fridays with Whistler. We're starting back up again.
Yeah, we did
Back in
our first
action.
one last night.
We did.
And of course, we were late.
By 17 minutes.
17 minutes. Yep.
We're having some issues.
It was fun though. It's been really good
Yeah.
coming back online and chatting with you guys. So
Oh, In Darkness, I think. Let me see.
yeah, he posted the link to your video.
Yeah, he did. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
In
In Darkness.
In Darkness. You are amazing.
I'm doing good, Greg. Thanks for asking. I'm back at it again. So it's I had to come back because it was good for my mental well-being.
Yeah.
Let's get up here. There we go.
So, Whistler,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
What?
Would you ever be a phone sex operator?
Would I?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'd be too embarrassed.
Really?
I'd be way too embarrassed.
Why? You kind of have that
I don't know.
radio voice. You could throw on the sexy.
Oh, he wants a demo of you singing. Intervision
does?
FM.
I don't think I have anything. I could probably do something. Can you email me, please? starlitgems1@gmail.com. It's starlit, StarlitGems1, then like the number 1 @gmail.com.
There you go. There you go. Alrighty. It is time to go.
Okay.
So thank you again. Thank you. And don't
welcome.
forget, in the description box, you'll also find the link to Starlet's YouTube channel. So you can head over there and show her some love.
Thank you and so
yeah,
much.
so-
And thank you all for being so nice. That was cool.
Yeah, that was really good of you guys to be so respectful, and it's much appreciated. We didn't have to kick anybody. So
It
until
is.
next time, everybody, take care, and don't forget, love is blind. Keep it blind.